Hi YouTube, it's Kathy, and let's talk about the spooky things I want to read in October. I don't usually do month-long TBRs, and this definitely isn't that. I'm not going to stick to this list, let's be honest, because there's things that are not spooky that I also want to read this month. However, since there's at least 10 spooky readathons going on right now and I couldn't make up my mind which one to do, I just decided I'd talk about the spooky books I want to read. At the top of my list is the Remember Me trilogy by Christopher Pike. These were my favorite books by this author back when I was a teenager. In fact, when I was about 12, I remember feeling very grown up because these books had swear words in them. The first book in this series is about a girl going to a party and then she wakes up dead and has to figure out who killed her. I remember her just being a ghost going around and checking people out, and then at least one Ouija board scene, as well as a twist that I still remember to this day. After Remember Me, you get The Return and The Last Story, and I honestly don't remember what happens in those ones, but I have a bind-up of all three, and this seems like the perfect month to get into it. Next on my list is Summer Sons by Lee Mandello. All I know about this one is it's queer and it's horror, and quite honestly, that is enough. That is enough to put it on the list for me. However, understanding that may not be enough for you, this one has to do with two best friends. One of them goes off to a program, and by the time he gets back, his best friend has died. People are saying it's a suicide, but he's looking for real answers, and now he's got this whole cast of characters to kind of figure out. Next on this list is All of Us Villains, and I'm just going to read you the beginning of the blurb for this one. After the publication of a salacious tell-all book, the remote city of Ilvernash is thrust into worldwide spotlight. Tourists, protesters, and reporters flock to its spell shops and ruins to witness an ancient curse unfold. Every generation, 7 families name a champion among them to compete in a tournament to the death. If I had to boil it down, it's rural Hunger Games with magic. Admittedly, this next one is pretty light on the spook, but I like to throw in some light-hearted spooky things sometimes. This one is called Beached and Bewitched. Ren Winters is utterly, painfully ordinary. The most boring job on the planet? Check. A boyfriend of 8 years who still hasn't put a ring on it? Double check. A squirrel that can't stop gorging itself on her tomato plants? Make that a triple. But on the eye of her 30th birthday, Ren can't shake the feeling that things are about to change. And then she finds out she's a witch. That's the change. This is either going to be great, or I'm just going to be making fun of it the entire time I'm reading it, and either of those experiences sound okay to me. Next, we have a psychological thriller called One for Sorrow. This has to do with a nurse in a psychiatric facility, and I'm assuming something goes terribly awry. Next, we have Eat Your Heart Out by Kelly DeVos. This one is a zombie book that takes place at a fat camp. And right at the beginning of this book, because I just started it as an audiobook, there is a disclaimer from the author about how fat camps are actually horrible and this is a work of satire. And I'm just excited to see the douchey person, because I've only met 4 of the characters so far, be the first one to be eaten. Next, we have a book that I think I picked at random from my audiobook app from the library, and that's called Hold Back the Tide. Everyone knows what happened to Alva's mother all those years ago. When dark forces begin to stir, Alva has to face a very different future and question everything she thought she knew about her past. That's literally the entire synopsis, and I am okay with that because I love going to books not knowing too much. Next, I'm finally going to get around to reading Bird Box by Josh Malerman. I feel like everybody already knows what this is. From my understanding, this is about a society in which if you go outside and you look at things, the monsters can get you. Something like that. So I'm looking forward to finally getting around to joining you all and having read this, and if I enjoy it, I will try to watch the movie as well. Next, we have a young adult title, 8 Will Fall. In a land where magic is outlawed, 8 criminals led by 17-year-old Larkin are sent on a mission to kill an ancient evil that plagues their kingdom. Descending into an underground realm full of unspeakable horrors, Larkin and her party must use their forbidden magic to survive what lies in wait, teeth sharp, and Jaws Deadly. Next, we have another psychological thriller, and this one I picked specifically because I saw somebody else talking about this author, and then this was the only book my library's e-library had available, so I snatched it up. This one is called Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier, and this is a psychological thriller about this woman trying to save her marriage. Marin had a perfect life, married to her college sweetheart, she owns a chain of upscale hair salons, and Derek runs his own company. They're admired in their community and a loving family, until their world falls apart the day their son Sebastian is taken. Who doesn't love a good FBI thriller? Ooh, I should also mention that over the weekend there were 5 horror anthologies that went for free on Kindle. They were all edited by Nick Harper. I will put up covers for you because they all had a different theme, and I'm hoping to read at least one of them. I believe this is also the time to finally read the Eva trilogy by J.M. Wild, who you might know as Jen Wild. Before Queens of Geeks and The Brightsiders and going off script, she wrote this zombie novella trilogy, and that's all I really need to know to want to read it. The titles of these novellas are As We Rise, While We Fall, and Before It Fades. The next 2 are ones I would love to read back to back because one is fiction about the event, and based on the title the other one seems to be non-fiction about the event, but I haven't actually checked. The first one is Lizzie, and the second one is The Trial of Lizzie Borden. Yes, many of us will vaguely remember the child's nursery rhyme about her killing her parents. There was also a movie that came out a while ago. I think Kristen Stewart was one of the main characters in it, and I'm quite certain that at least the first one is queer. I don't know if the actual events were queer or not. Next we have The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. I think I've actually bought this both in Kindle format and in paperback format because I've seen it and been like, ooh, I need that, twice. Seamlessly blending classic horror and a dramatic narrative with sharp social commentary, The Only Good Indians follows 4 American Indian men after a disturbing event from their youth puts them in desperate struggle for their lives. Tracked by an entity bent on revenge, these childhood friends are helpless as culture and traditions they left behind catch up to them in a violent, vengeful way. Sounds fantastic, honestly. Next, something again on the more spoopy side than the spooky side is Payback's a Witch. Emi Haro is a witch, but not a very powerful one, in part because she hasn't been home to the magical town of Thistle Grove in years. Her self-imposed exile has a lot to do with a complicated family history and a desire to forge her own way in the world, and only the very tiniest bit to do with Gareth Blackmore, heir to the most powerful magical family in town and casual breaker of hearts and destroyer of dreams. But when a spellcasting tournament that her family serves as arbiters for approaches, it turns out the pull of tradition, or the truly impressive parental guilt trip that comes with it, is strong enough to bring Emi back. Honestly, I just finished a TV show which the whole premise is the main girl goes back to her hometown after 7 years of being away, and it really did not end happily for her. But I'm thinking that since this is more spoopy, it's gonna end a little bit more happily for this character. Next we have a debut novel, and that's You Let Me In by Camilla Bruce. Cassandra Tipp is dead. Or is she? After all, the notorious recluse and eccentric best-selling novelist has always been prone to flights of fancy. Everyone in town remembers the shocking events leading up to Cassie's infamous trial. She may have been acquitted, but the insanity defense only stretches so far. Just from that one line, I wonder how into the actual legal system this is going to go, simply because if you use the insanity plea, you also have to go to a psychiatric facility, and it's not a plea that works very often from my understanding, so I'll find out. The thing that really draws me in about this one, however, is coming up. Cassandra Tripp left behind no body, just a massive fortune and one final manuscript. So it's spooky and bibliophilic? This is for me. Next we have The Dead Girls Club. Red lady, show me your face. In 1991, Heather Cole and her friends were members of the Dead Girls Club. Obsessed with the macabre, the girls exchanged stories about serial killers and imaginary monsters, like the Red Lady, the spirit of a vengeful witch killed centuries before. Heather knew the stories were just that, until her best friend Becca began insisting the Red Lady was real, and she could prove it. I also just got an ARC that isn't out until May, but it sounds right up my alley, and it sounds great for spooky season. It's The Woman in the Library. I'm currently a woman in a library. This one also caught my eye because I've actually been to the place where it's set. In every person's story, there's something to hide. The ornate reading room in the Boston Public Library is quiet until the tranquility is shattered by a woman's terrified scream. Security guards take charge immediately, instructing everyone inside to stay put until the threat is identified and contained. While they wait for the all-clear, 4 strangers who happen to be sitting at the same table pass the time in conversation, and friendships are struck. Each has his or her own reasons for being in the reading room that morning. It just happens that one is a murderer. This sounds like a grown-up One of Us is Lying set in a library, and yeah, that ticks some boxes for me. The final book on this list is very ominously titled You're Next. When a girl with a troubled history of finding dead bodies investigates the murder of her ex, she uncovers a plot to put herself and everyone she loves on the list of who's next. Spooky season, murder mysteries, yes please. In addition, something I would love to recommend to you, even though it is not a book, is the 2009 show Harper's Island. My friend Eric just recently talked about it in his October TBR, and I tracked it down and watched it all this week. It's only 13 episodes, it's a 1-season show, and oh my goodness. It's actually the show I alluded to earlier where a girl goes back to the island that she grew up on and then things go bad. She left the island because 7 years previously, a guy named John Wakefield killed 6 people, including her mother. Now she's back for her childhood best friend's wedding and people start disappearing. It's spooky, it's very gory, it's full of misdirects, it makes you fall in love with characters and then it takes them away from you, and I very much enjoyed it. That's it for this video. What spooky things are you reading this October? Let me know about them down in the comments below. On the way down to the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. If you don't feel like leaving a comment but want to make sure that I know you're here, just leave me a little ghost emoji or a smiley face if you happen to be on your keyboard. Some people have asked if there's a way to financially support these shenanigans, so I set up a Ko-fi account, which is a digital tipping service. The link for that is down below, as well as a link to my PayPal and my Amazon wishlist in case you would like to buy me a spooky book. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye!